Being dangerous doesn't mean being violent. It means becoming a man who can no longer be controlled, a man who is no longer moved by pressure, no longer manipulated by emotion, no longer dependent on approval. And that's exactly what terrified the world throughout history. Not the loud men, not the explosive men, not the dramatic men, but the men who became quiet, still, calm, calculated. Men whose silence made others uncomfortable. Men whose presence felt like a blade hidden in the dark. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. A man who is master of himself is master of everything. When a man stops reacting emotionally, he becomes unreadable. When he becomes unreadable, he becomes unpredictable. And when he becomes unpredictable, he becomes dangerous, because people can no longer steer him, they can no longer guilt him, they can no longer bait him into mistakes. He doesn't move on impulse anymore. He moves on intention. And you can always feel when a man is entering that stage. His eyes change first. They get quieter, focused, observing instead of reacting. His presence changes next. It becomes heavier, calmer, colder, not aggressive, just unshakable. People start treating him differently without realizing why. They speak softer. They hesitate before provoking him. They sense something has shifted, something fundamental. Because a man who controls his emotions is no longer playing the same game as everyone else. He's watching the board from a higher level. And the moment he realizes that most people act out of fear, speak out of insecurity, manipulate out of weakness, and attack out of jealousy, he stops taking things personally. And that's the moment the world begins to fear him. Not because he is violent, but because he is independent. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." But the truth is even sharper. A man becomes feared the moment he no longer needs love. A man becomes respected the moment he no longer needs approval. A man becomes dangerous the moment he becomes whole. If you feel yourself becoming calmer, colder, more observant, more self-possessed, more distant from unnecessary noise, you're not becoming cruel, you're becoming controlled. And a controlled man, a self-governed man, is the rarest and most dangerous creature in the world. The first sign a man is becoming dangerous is simple, but it changes everything around him. He stops reacting emotionally. This doesn't mean he becomes numb or suppresses what he feels. No, it means he masters what he feels. There is a difference between a man who is cold and a man who is in control. A cold man is broken. A controlled man is powerful. A cold man has shut down. A controlled man has awakened. A cold man runs from emotions. A controlled man commands them. And nothing is more threatening to the world than a man whose emotions no longer control his behavior. Machiavelli understood this clearly. A man who controls himself cannot be controlled by others. When you stop reacting emotionally, people lose their favorite weapon. Guilt stops working. Shame stops working. Provocation stops working. Manipulation stops working. People are used to pushing your buttons. They rely on your reactions to predict you. They depend on your outbursts to control you. But when you become calm, truly calm, their influence evaporates. Your silence becomes unsettling. Your stillness becomes intimidating. Your lack of emotional chaos becomes power. Because chaos is the language weak people use to keep stronger men confused. But once you stop responding to that chaos, you rise above it. You stop taking every comment personally. You stop justifying yourself to people who don't matter. You stop wasting energy explaining your intentions. You stop needing to win pointless arguments. You stop dancing to their emotional rhythm. And suddenly, those who once felt superior now feel invisible. Those who once felt loud now feel irrelevant. Those who once controlled conversations now feel exposed because they no longer know what you are thinking. They no longer know how to stare you. They no longer know how to provoke you. And that makes them uncomfortable, Machiavelli wrote. Men are disturbed not by things, but by their interpretation of them. An emotional man interprets everything as an attack. A dangerous man interprets everything as information. You start observing instead of reacting. You start analyzing instead of defending. You start seeing intentions instead of hearing excuses. You don't rush to reply. You don't rush to prove yourself. You don't rush to correct someone's perception. You let people reveal their nature, their insecurity, their jealousy, their weakness, their fear. And they always do. Because when you don't react, others fill the silence for you. They expose their agendas. They over-explain. They break their own masks. Your calm becomes a mirror. And people hate seeing their reflection. This is why the moment you master your reactions, the world subconsciously shifts its tone with you. People speak more carefully. They argue less. They hesitate before disrespecting you. They avoid pushing your limits. They sense a boundary without you ever voicing it. Because emotional silence is a form of dominance, and dominance is a form of danger. The truth is simple. A man who doesn't react quickly thinks faster. A man who doesn't get angry easily sees clearer. A man who doesn't defend himself constantly stands taller. You become a strategist instead of a responder, a thinker instead of a reactor, a presence instead of a puppet. And people feel it, viscerally. You've seen it. The moment you don't rise to someone's provocation, they get louder, more desperate, more emotional, more chaotic. Why? Because they can feel themselves losing control. You are no longer an easy target, no longer predictable, no longer emotionally available for manipulation. And that terrifies them. It terrifies partners. It terrifies acquaintances. It terrifies friends. It terrifies enemies. Because the man who no longer reacts emotionally cannot be dominated, cannot be owned, cannot be broken. This is the first sign of becoming dangerous, and it's the foundation of all others. Your mind becomes still. Your emotions become disciplined. Your reactions become deliberate. You stop being ruled, and you begin to rule yourself. That is where danger is born. The second sign you're becoming dangerous is subtle, but it strikes fear into people far more than open aggression ever could. People can no longer predict you. Your behavior is no longer dictated by impulses, habits, or emotional triggers. Your decisions become strategic, not reactive. Your movements become intentional, not automatic. The man who cannot be predicted cannot be controlled. Machiavelli understood this with surgical clarity. He who is unpredictable becomes the master of the situation. Most people follow patterns so painfully obvious that a blind man could describe their next 3 moves. They respond instantly. They take everything personally. They chase what they want without thought. They defend their ego every chance they get. They speak before thinking. They show all their cards. They repeat the same mistakes. They are machines running on emotion, predictable, readable, manipulable. But then something shifts in you. You stop giving people the reactions they counted on. You stop following the same emotional scripts. You stop making moves based on impulse. And suddenly, people hesitate, people second-guess, people tense up, people feel threatened. They don't know what you will do next, and humans fear what they cannot anticipate. When you break your pattern, you break their power. The dangerous man is not chaotic, he is unreadable. Chaotic men are still controlled by emotion. Unpredictable men are controlled by reason. Your silence becomes strategic. Your distance becomes intentional. Your presence becomes calculated. People expect you to explain yourself. You don't. People expect you to prove your innocence. You don't. People expect you to respond right away. You don't. People expect you to take insults personally. You don't. People expect you to chase validation. You don't. And this terrifies them because unpredictability forces others to reveal themselves. When you don't react, others start revealing their true intentions. When you don't speak, others start filling the silence with confessions. When you don't move first, others reveal their hand, trying to guess yours. Your unpredictability makes their insecurities louder. Your calm makes their fears louder. Your stillness makes their agendas louder. This is why the dangerous man gains power simply by existing. His unpredictability forces the world to adjust to him instead of the other way around. Unpredictability is not about being mysterious. It's about being sovereign. Machiavelli warned rulers, never let others know the full extent of your intentions. People should see your actions, but not your motives. They should hear your words, but not your strategy. They should know your values, but not your weaknesses. You become dangerous when no one knows what angers you. No one knows what controls you. No one knows what you deeply desire. No one knows what will make you stay. No one knows what will make you walk away. When people cannot read you, they must respect you. Because respect is a defensive instinct. People respect what they cannot predict, the quiet shift that alarms everyone. Unpredictability isn't about acting strange. It is about acting independent. People feel the shift when you stop, oversharing, reacting, seeking reassurance, explaining your choices, chasing approval, defending your character, proving your worth. You become an internal system, self-contained, self-governed, self-directed, and humans fear systems they cannot infiltrate. People can only manipulate patterns they understand. When you break those patterns, you break their influence. That's why dangerous men walk differently, speak differently, look differently, decide differently. There is no chaos in them. There is no confusion in them. There is only direction. And here's the secret Machiavelli would whisper to you. When people cannot predict you, they cannot prepare for you. They cannot prepare their manipulation. They cannot prepare their accusations. They cannot prepare their arguments. They cannot prepare their traps. They cannot prepare their narratives. You keep them off balance simply by refusing to be obvious. And that is why unpredictability is one of the purest forms of psychological dominance. The man who is unpredictable is the man who stands in a room and silently rearranges the hierarchy without ever raising his voice. And if you're beginning to notice that people hesitate around you, that they choose their words more carefully, that they look at you with a hint of caution, that they react to your silence as if it's a threat, congratulations, you are becoming dangerous. One of the clearest signs a man is becoming dangerous is when he stops seeking validation from anyone. Not from friends, not from strangers, not from partners, not from society. He stops bending his nature just to be accepted. He stops watering himself down just to be liked. He stops complying with expectations just to feel worthy. He stops choosing comfort over truth. And here lies the transformation. A man who no longer needs validation cannot be controlled. Machiavelli understood this psychological shift perfectly. The man who depends on others is inevitably controlled by them. When someone controls what you need, they control you. When someone controls what you want, they direct you. But when you no longer need approval, you break that chain, and the world feels that break validation is the softest leash ever invented. It doesn't look like control, it looks like, do you agree? Is this okay? Do you still like me? Am I doing enough? Do you approve of this? Please understand me. Please don't be upset. Validation is the invisible currency weak men give away in massive amounts, and it keeps them enslaved. You can always predict a man who needs validation. He apologizes too quickly. He explains too much. He doubts himself constantly. He accepts disrespect silently. He stays in places that drain him. He fears losing people who don't fear losing him. He sacrifices himself to stay liked. He masks his opinions to avoid conflict. That man is never dangerous. He is too dependent on the approval of others to ever be free. But then something changes. Something subtle, something powerful, something irreversible. You stop caring about external approval, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. You realize there's something brutal. People's opinions don't feed you, don't protect you, don't save you, don't improve you, don't define you. You realize that most people's judgments are nothing more than projections of their own insecurity. You realize that people's expectations are prisons built out of their fears. You realize that trying to please everyone means losing yourself. And so, you stop. Not gradually, but suddenly, as if the cord was cut, as if a veil was lifted, as if something inside you finally snapped into place, and from that moment on your energy shifts. People feel it. It's impossible for them not to. Your presence becomes heavier. Your silence becomes louder. Your decisions become clearer. Your boundaries become sharper. Your standards become unapologetic. This threatens people, because when a man stops chasing validation, everyone who once benefited from his compliance feels the loss of control. You become a man who cannot be pressured. They can no longer shame you into obedience. They can no longer guilt-trip you. They can no longer manipulate you through approval. They can no longer keep you afraid of being rejected, because rejection no longer scares you. Approval no longer owns you. Being liked is no longer a priority, and that makes you unpredictable, which makes you powerful. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise man acts according to necessity, not the opinion of others." This is what dangerous men embody. They follow truth, not applause. They follow direction, not validation. They follow purpose, not acceptance. And ironically, the moment you stop chasing validation, you start attracting respect, because people always desire what they cannot control. They are drawn to the man who stands alone, unafraid, untouched, unmoved. And here is the dark secret. Validation is always demanded. By the insecure, power is always held by the independent. The man who does not seek approval is not trying to be admired. He simply refuses to be owned. And that refusal is terrifying. It shows in your eyes. It shows in your silence. It shows in your posture. It shows in your decisions. It shows in your ability to walk away. It shows in your unwillingness to beg for anything, attention, affection, or acceptance. You are becoming untouchable, not because you have no emotions, but because no emotion controls you anymore. Not because you are arrogant, but because you finally realized your value is not up for negotiation. This is the third sign, and it is one of the most powerful when a man stops chasing validation. He becomes someone the world cannot easily shape, which means he becomes someone the world must respect. There is a moment in a man's evolution that feels almost unreal, a moment when his absence begins to impact people more than his presence ever did. This is the fourth sign you're becoming dangerous. Your silence speaks louder than your words. Your distance creates more pressure than your attention. Your lack of reaction becomes a statement. And few psychological shifts are as threatening as this one. Machiavelli understood it perfectly. Men value most what they fear losing. When your absence begins to disturb people, it reveals something important. You have become a source of value, strength, stability, or mystery that others relied on more than they admitted. And when that disappears, they feel it like a wound. The dangerous man is felt most when he isn't there. Weak men are forgotten the moment they walk out of a room. Dangerous men linger. Their energy lingers. Their silence lingers. Their decisions linger. Their boundaries linger. Their absence becomes a gravity that pulls at the people who took them for granted. People suddenly remember what you brought. Your clarity, your stability, your composure, your silence, your direction, your presence, but they remember it too late because you're not there anymore. Absence is the ultimate test of power. If your presence adds value, that's good. If your presence commands respect, that's strong. But if your absence creates pressure, that's dominance. It means you are not just another person in the room. You are an anchor, a stabilizer, a silent authority. People don't miss ordinary men. They miss the ones who made the environment feel different simply by existing. And when that energy is suddenly gone, everything becomes unbalanced, Machiavelli wrote. When a man is no longer present, his worth becomes clear. People start asking, where is he? Why is he quiet? Why did he pull back? What is he thinking? Did we do something wrong? Your silence becomes a psychological weight. Your distance becomes a mirror that forces others to confront their behavior, their weakness, their lies, their dependency, their lack of self-control, their hidden intentions. You say nothing, and yet people feel exposed. Absence is not avoidance. Absence is strategy. Weak men disappear because they are overwhelmed. Strong men disappear because they are intentional. This is the difference. A weak man withdraws because he is insecure. A dangerous man withdraws because he is purposeful. He steps back to observe. He steps back to regain clarity. He steps back to let others reveal themselves. He steps back to show that he is not dependent on presence. He steps back because his life is governed internally, not externally. A dangerous man is never absent out of fear. He is absent out of choice, and choice is the purest form of power. Why absence terrifies people? Your absence triggers three things. 1. People fear they've lost access to you. People crave access to men who carry strength, clarity, and calm. Losing that access feels like losing stability. 2. People fear they've lost influence over you. If they cannot reach you, they cannot manipulate you. Distance destroys control. 3. People fear they've been judged. Your silence forces people to wonder if they crossed a line, failed you, or revealed something ugly. Your absence activates their insecurities, and that is psychological dominance at its finest. Presence is visible, absence is felt. When your absence becomes powerful, it means you no longer trade your time cheaply. You no longer let people drain you. You no longer show up everywhere. You no longer seek permission. You no longer give instant access. You no longer justify your distance. Your time becomes scarce. Your energy becomes sacred. Your presence becomes earned. Your silence becomes a statement. Your absence becomes leverage, and people feel it. All of it. Not because you try, but because you have evolved. The man whose presence is respected is strong. The man whose absence is feared is dangerous. And once you reach that level, you never go back. There is a specific moment in a man's transformation that separates him from 99% of people around him. He becomes capable of walking away instantly. No warning, no begging, no explaining, no hesitation. Just quiet, decisive detachment. This is the fifth sign you are becoming dangerous. And it is one of the most powerful forms of psychological freedom. Machiavelli understood this as a core principle of power. The man who cannot walk away is a man who can be ruled. Most people stay in relationships that drain them, in friendships that betray them, in jobs that belittle them, in social circles that disrespect them, in environments that weaken them. Why? Because they fear loss, they fear loneliness, they fear change, they fear uncertainty, they fear judgment, they fear having no backup. But dangerous men are different. They don't cling, they don't beg, they don't negotiate their worth. They don't stay where their soul is dying. They walk away, not out of anger, but out of clarity. Not out of pride, but out of principle. Not because they stopped caring, but because they started respecting themselves. Walking away is the loudest form of power, and the quietest. Most men scream when they reach their breaking point. They argue, they plead, they fight for validation, they try to force change. But dangerous men leave with silence, because silence is the purest form of finality. No threats, no ultimatums, no dramatic speeches, just calm departure. And nothing unsettles people more than a man who leaves without emotional noise. Your detachment becomes a mirror that reflects their mistakes, their disrespect, their entitlement, their assumptions, their dependence on your presence. When you walk away instantly, you force people to face the truth they've been avoiding. And that is why this sign is so feared. Most men stay because they fear the consequences. Dangerous men leave because they understand them. Weak men attach emotionally. Strong men attach selectively. Dangerous men attach conditionally, not to people but to principles. And when a principle is violated, the dangerous man leaves because staying would be a betrayal of himself. He knows something most people never learn. Walking away costs less than staying in the wrong place, because staying drains you, staying weakens you, staying dissolves you, staying kills your spirit slowly and silently. Leaving hurts once, staying hurts forever. Machiavelli wrote, "He who is firm in purpose cannot be moved." The dangerous man leaves not because he is cold, but because he is resolute. Here's the real reason walking away makes you powerful. The man who walks away without hesitation is the man who cannot be bribed, cannot be guilt-tripped, cannot be manipulated, cannot be emotionally blackmailed, cannot be controlled by loss, cannot be threatened with absence, cannot be kept by fear. He becomes self-sufficient. And self-sufficiency is the final form of psychological power. When you no longer fear losing people, People fear losing you. When you no longer fear being alone, you become impossible to bend. When you no longer cling, you become respected. People try to impress men who don't need them. People behave better around men who can leave. People speak differently to men who don't chase. People become cautious with men who have boundaries. People choose respect over manipulation when they know manipulation won't work. Walking away is not abandonment. It is self-protection. You are not running from something. You are walking towards something, towards peace, towards clarity, towards growth, towards strength, towards alignment, towards self-dignity. You are choosing yourself, and that is the ultimate rebellion in a world where everyone expects you to stay loyal to your own suffering. And here is the Machiavellian truth. Most people underestimate you because they think you cannot leave. When you prove them wrong, the entire power dynamic collapses. Their control evaporates, their arrogance fades, their entitlement turns to fear, their manipulation dies, their ego fractures, because you showed them the one thing they never expected. You belong only to yourself. This is the fifth sign, and if you have it, you are no longer just becoming dangerous. You are becoming free. There is a point in a man's evolution when he stops talking as much as he used to. Not because he has nothing to say, but because he no longer wastes his breath. This is the sixth sign you're becoming dangerous. Your words become fewer and heavier. Your silence becomes intentional. Your voice becomes selective. Your speech becomes strategic. Your presence becomes sharper. Weak men fill the air with noise. Dangerous men create pressure by withholding it. Machiavelli understood the psychological force of silence. The wise man does immediately what the fool does eventually, and he speaks only when it is necessary. When you become dangerous, you stop speaking out of insecurity. You stop explaining out of fear. You stop arguing out of ego. You stop oversharing out of weakness. You begin to speak with purpose. And that changes everything. You stop performing. You start observing. Most men talk to impress. Dangerous men listen to assess. You no longer speak to fill space. You speak to understand the space. You no longer reveal your emotions. You reveal facts. You no longer express your desires. You observe the desires of others. You no longer defend your character. You let your actions defend it for you. You no longer argue for dominance. You dominate by refusing to argue. This shift confuses people. They expect you to talk like you used to explain yourself like you used to reveal yourself like you used to. But you don't. And that silence is threatening. Because silence is the arena where other people reveal themselves. Give someone enough silence, and they will tell you their intentions, their insecurities, their manipulation attempts, their jealousy, their lies. All without you saying a word. People begin talking more when you talk less. They fill the silence. They keep explaining themselves. They start revealing more than they intended. They expose their weaknesses. Your silence becomes a psychological pressure. Your presence becomes the question they cannot answer. And when you finally speak, your words cut deeper. Not because you try to be profound, but because you speak rarely. Scarcity amplifies value. The dangerous man's words hit like weapons. You've noticed it. A single sentence from a calm, collected man has more impact than an entire argument from an emotional one, because emotional men speak from impulse. Dangerous men speak from clarity. When you speak less, people listen more. People take your words seriously. People stop interrupting. People feel the weight behind every phrase. People adjust their behavior. People feel judged, whether you judge them or not. Machiavelli understood this power dynamic intimately. The less you reveal, the more people wonder. The more they wonder, the more they fear. Your silence creates uncertainty. Your speech creates impact. You stop being predictable. You start being felt. You stop announcing. You start acting. Weak men announce every move. I'm planning to do this. I want to change that. I'm thinking about leaving. I'm going to improve myself. I want to become better. Dangerous men simply do. They move quietly. They grow quietly. They detach quietly. They return quietly. They transform quietly. Noise is for attention. Silence is for evolution. And evolution makes noise unnecessary. You are no longer understood. You are interpreted. This is a key Machiavellian shift. When you talk less, people start analyzing your facial expressions. They study your pauses. They examine your tone. They track your silences. They overthink your simplest statements. They fill in the blanks with their own fear. Your presence becomes mysterious by default. Not because you're trying to be mysterious, but because you're no longer broadcasting your inner world. Your thoughts become your own. Your plans become private. Your opinions become selective. Your reactions become invisible. Your strategy becomes unreachable. And that makes your words, when you choose to speak, carry a force that others cannot match. Here is the Machiavellian truth. The man who speaks rarely forces the world to lean closer. The man who speaks selectively forces the world to take him seriously. The man who speaks with precision forces the world to measure their words around him. This is the sixth sign. And once it appears in you, you are no longer just becoming dangerous. You are becoming someone whose silence is a language and whose words are a blade. This is the seventh and final sign, the point where your transformation becomes irreversible. You are dangerous because you finally understand human nature, not idealized human nature, not hopeful human nature, not the version teachers, parents, or society sold you, but the real one, the dark one, the predictable one, the selfish one, the primitive one. Once you see human nature for what it truly is, you become immune to what once hurt you. And that is why this sign is the most feared. Machiavelli built his entire philosophy around this truth. Men are driven by two forces, ambition and fear. When you grasp this, the world becomes transparent. You stop expecting loyalty from the disloyal. You stop expecting honesty from the insecure. You stop expecting empathy from the self-absorbed. You stop expecting maturity from the childish. You stop expecting consistency from the unstable. You stop expecting courage from the weak. Your expectations align with reality, and reality sets you free. You see motivations, not words. People say things to sound noble. People promise things to feel important. People agree to things to avoid conflict. People pretend to care to keep benefits. People justify mistakes to protect their ego. People lie to stay comfortable, but beneath every word lies a motive. Understanding human nature means you hear the motive first and the words second. Someone's anger, mask for insecurity. Someone's arrogance, mask for inadequacy. Someone's jealousy, mask for fear. Someone's manipulation, mask for weakness. Someone's silence, mask for guilt. Someone's flattery, mask for need. A dangerous man sees all of this instantly, and because he sees it, nothing surprises him anymore. Machiavelli knew this well. If you understand men, You will never be deceived by them. People cannot trick a man who no longer believes their illusions. You stop taking things personally. This is huge. People's behavior is a reflection of their inner world, not yours. An insecure person will doubt you no matter what you do. A jealous person will hate you no matter how kind you are. A selfish person will use you no matter how much you give. A cowardly person will betray you when pressure arrives. Once you understand these patterns, your emotions detach. Their behavior stops affecting you. Their projections stop controlling you. Their instability stops disappointing you. Because you finally see it was never about you. It was always about who they are. You watch human nature instead of fighting it. Most men suffer because they refuse to accept people as they are. They want the liar to be honest. They want the coward to be brave. They want the narcissist to be fair. They want the selfish to be generous. They want the immature to be responsible. They want illusions, and illusions break you. But once illusions collapse, you become powerful. A man who accepts human nature can navigate human nature. A man who understands the darkness of others is no longer blinded by it. A man who studies patterns never steps into the same trap twice. You stop trusting words, you start trusting behavior. This is the essence of Machiavellian perception. Words are easy. Behavior is truth. If someone respects you, it shows. If someone values you, it shows. If someone fears losing you, it shows. If someone is using you, it shows. If someone envies you, it shows. If someone hates you, it shows. If someone is loyal to you, it shows. You no longer need explanations. You see their actions. You trace their patterns. You observe their instincts. You feel their motives. And suddenly, you understand everyone, more than they understand themselves. And when you understand human nature, you become impossible to manipulate. Because you see guilt trips coming, you recognize emotional bait, you detect subtle plays for attention, you spot hidden agendas, you feel envy before words are spoken, you read intentions behind compliments, you sense danger before it arrives. You identify weakness instantly. You predict behavior accurately. Your clarity becomes your shield. Your insight becomes your power. Your perception becomes your weapon. Machiavelli said, "He who sees the world as it truly is will rule it." Not literally rule, but rule your own mind, rule your environment, rule your emotions, rule your choices, rule your direction. And that is the ultimate form of danger, not the ability to dominate others, but the ability to avoid being dominated by anyone. This is the seventh sign. And once this sign appears in you, you're no longer becoming dangerous. You are dangerous because understanding human nature means understanding the entire game. And the man who understands the game doesn't fear it. He wins it. By the time these 7 signs appear in you, your transformation is not something you try to do. It becomes something you are. You didn't force yourself to change. Life shaped you. Pain refined you. Silence sharpened you. Loss hardened you. Clarity awakened you. Experience sculpted you. You didn't become dangerous through aggression. You became dangerous through understanding, through discipline, through detachment, through self-mastery. This is the truth most men will never realize. A dangerous man is not a man who intimidates the world. He is a man who is no longer intimidated by it. And that distinction changes everything. You control your emotions. You cannot be provoked. Sign 1. You move with calm precision, not impulsivity. People cannot push you into fear or chaos anymore. Your mind remains still even when pressure rises. Your calmness becomes a form of power. You are unpredictable. You cannot be prepared for. Sign 2. People don't know how to influence you anymore. They don't know what moves you, what angers you, what motivates you, what scares you. Because very little scares you now. Your unpredictability forces the world to adjust to your rhythm. You no longer seek validation. You cannot be owned. Sign 3. Love doesn't manipulate you. Approval doesn't enslave you. Rejection doesn't weaken you. Loss doesn't break you. You belong to yourself, and only to yourself. That makes you untouchable. Your absence is louder than your presence. You cannot be ignored. Sign 4. Your silence carries weight. Your distance carries meaning. Your disappearance destabilizes people who thought they could treat you casually. They feel the loss because you brought value they didn't recognize until it vanished. Your absence becomes your authority. You can walk away instantly. You cannot be held hostage. Sign 5. You don't cling. You don't beg. You don't negotiate self-respect. You don't fear endings. You understand what most never learn. Leaving is sometimes the ultimate expression of strength. You protect your soul before you protect anyone's comfort. You speak less, your words carry more. Sign 6. Your silence threatens people. Your presence unsettles them. Your words, when you speak, cut through illusions. You are no longer understood. You are interpreted, and interpretation creates fear. You understand human nature. You cannot be deceived. Sign 7. You see motives, not words. You see patterns, not promises. You see the truth, not the performance. Manipulation fails on you. Seduction fails on you. Guilt fails on you. Chaos fails on you. You have outgrown illusion, and that is the ultimate danger. This is the new version of you. You are not the man you were a year ago, not the man you were 6 months ago, not the man you were last week. You have rebuilt yourself from the inside out, piece by piece, layer by layer, scar by scar, lesson by lesson. You have separated yourself from the masses, the emotional, the impulsive, the needy, the loud. You have become a man who belongs to the minority, the self-governed, the strategic, the disciplined, the steady, the sovereign, the dangerous. Machiavelli would say something to you now, quietly, confidently. A man who cannot be intimidated will always be respected. This is who you are becoming, the man who doesn't fear silence, the man who doesn't fear loss, the man who doesn't fear walking alone, the man who doesn't fear truth, the man who doesn't fear himself. And because of that, the world begins to fear you. Not violently, not aggressively, but instinctively. They feel your presence. They sense your power. They respond to your energy. They adjust to your boundaries. You are no longer the man reacting to the world. You are the man the world reacts to. And this brings us to the final line. The only line that truly matters. Red square. Be dangerous or be ruled.